My fiancé, who's 26, and I, a 23-year-old woman, have been together for 3 years. We met while I was on vacation, and a few weeks later, he followed me on Instagram. We got engaged last year, and just a month after that, I found out I was pregnant. Now, we have a beautiful 6-month-old. We hosted Thanksgiving this year, and my fiancé was drinking heavily. My mom and I were talking about the wedding, which my parents are paying for, when I overheard him telling my brother, who was equally drunk, that he needed to tie me down and get me pregnant before I realized what a jerk he was. They laughed it off, but it rubbed me the wrong way because our baby wasn't planned. I wasn't ready for a child, and although we used condoms, they kept breaking. After a few incidents, I decided to go on birth control, but still ended up pregnant despite his plan to pull out. I was scared, but chose to keep the baby, even though I wasn't in the best financial or emotional position to start a family. When I confronted my fiancé about what he said, he first claimed not to remember it, which was believable given how drunk he was, but then dismissed it as a joke. He said it was a compliment because I'm so amazing. To test his reaction, I joked about wanting a prenup. He got immediately defensive, asking why he would sign one when we have a baby and a house together. He said he wouldn't sign one, claiming we'd never separate, and that my mention of a prenup was insulting and emasculating. I wasn't scared, but his reaction made me uncomfortable, and he woke up our baby, so I told him to leave. He did, but the next day, he sent a long apology and a bouquet of flowers, saying it was out of character for him to get loud. I appreciated the apology, but still needed time to think. The next day, he sent me a booking for a massage and offered to come over to watch our son and cook dinner. He also called me a jerk for taking his joke too seriously and wasting money he could have saved for the wedding. At this point, I started feeling like something was off, but I didn't want to break up my family over it. After some reflection, I realized I was bothered by the joke because about a year ago, my fiancé lost his job and didn't do much for several months. That was when he first brought up wanting kids, even though I had made it clear that I wasn't ready yet. We had agreed to wait 3 to 4 years before having children, but his comments about having kids soon made me uneasy. He didn't seem to have a clear plan for his future, and I was the one paying the bills during that time. It wasn't until later that I realized his lack of action during that time had started making me question his priorities. I also should have insisted on continuing to use condoms, even when I got on birth control, but I didn't want to argue with him. Looking back, I know I should have been more assertive about our contraception choices. My fiancé and I talked about finances, and although my family is successful, I've always been taught the importance of financial independence. My fiancé said he wants me to stop working once we're married so I can focus on our children, but I'm not sure I want to be financially dependent on him, especially since his current income might not cover all of our expenses. I haven't shared these concerns with my parents yet, since they're close with him and I don't want to make things worse. Update: after sharing my concerns on Reddit, many people pointed out things I hadn't fully considered. My fiancé and I had another talk about the situation, but it didn't go well. He insisted on staying at my apartment while I was on the phone with a friend. When I went to check on the baby, I saw him taking my keys from my purse. It felt like he was treating my silence as an agreement to everything he had said earlier. I texted my dad about feeling uncomfortable, and he drove 6 hours to pick up me and my son. We're now at my parents' house, and my fiancé has been messaging me nonstop since this morning. I told him I needed space, but I still haven't made a final decision. My parents have said they don't care if I want to cancel the wedding, but I feel guilty about it. I'm scared of being a single mom and making the wrong decision, especially since we just bought a house together. But at the same time, I don't want to ignore the red flags. Update 2. After more reflection, I've realized how serious this situation is. My fiancé's behavior has continued to make me feel uneasy, and I've realized that things aren't as they seem. My mom has started canceling wedding plans, and it looks like the wedding is off. It's been a difficult decision, but I'm starting to feel like I'm making the right choice for my future and my son.